When you get bored today, you reach for a screen, a phone, a video, a game, something. You have more entertainment options than any human who has ever lived, streaming libraries with thousands of shows, music at the tap of a finger, a social feed that never ends, an entire machine of distraction built for this exact moment when you have nothing to do. But for almost all of human history, none of that existed. No phone, no TV, no books, no electricity, no internet. So what did ancient humans actually do for fun? You might already have an answer forming. They danced, they told stories, they painted on cave walls, and you'd be right, but that's the obvious answer. Because the deeper you dig into the actual evidence, the stranger and more interesting it gets. Ancient humans didn't treat play, music, or storytelling as rewards after the real work was done. For them, those things were woven into everything. And there is a serious scientific case that without them, we might not have made it this far at all. Let's start at the beginning. Ancient humans were not survival robots. Studies of some hunter-gatherer societies suggest that food and survival tasks did not always consume the entire day. There was still time left, not modern leisure, but time. And the evidence says they filled it in ways that feel surprisingly familiar. Start with play. In studies of hunter-gatherer communities still living today, like the Bayaka of the Congo rainforest, researchers from UCL found that children learn almost entirely through play and imitation. Not formal teaching, not structured lessons. Just kids in mixed age groups, chasing each other, throwing things, watching adults and copying what they saw. By around 5 or 6 years old, many of these children were already capable of basic food collection. Not because someone sat them down and explained technique, because play made the skills feel natural, and because doing it alongside others made it stick. This matters more than it sounds. Play in hunter-gatherer societies was not frivolous. It was practice. Children played at hunting following tracks, pretending to shoot, carrying leaves back to camp as imaginary meat. They competed at throwing and running. Adults wrestled, raced, played games of skill and strength. Play wasn't what happened instead of learning. Play was how learning happened. But here's where it gets stranger, because play does something else entirely. When you chase someone, when you wrestle them, fake with them, compete and laugh with them, you are testing each other at low cost. You learn who keeps their word, who plays fair, who won't turn on you when the real stakes arrive. For a group of people who depended entirely on each other to survive, that kind of trust was not optional. Now, move to music. The oldest confirmed musical instruments we have found are flutes, carved from vulture wing bone and mammoth ivory. Found in caves in southern Germany. Dated to somewhere between 40,000 and 43,000 years ago, these are not rough, accidental objects. They have precisely spaced finger holes. They could play relatively complex melodies. And they were found right alongside some of the earliest known figurative art, as if music and image-making arrived together, part of the same surge in what humans were becoming. Some researchers have argued that this musical tradition may have given early modern humans a real social advantage, a way of holding larger groups together, a way of coordinating that was hard to replicate. And the science on why rhythm does this is genuinely fascinating. Anthropologist and neuroscientist Robin Dunbar at Oxford has spent decades working on how humans bond at scale. His argument is roughly this: in smaller primate groups, physical grooming holds relationships together. It takes time, it requires closeness, it releases bonding chemicals in the brain. But as human groups got larger, grooming couldn't keep up. You cannot groom 20 people at once. What could scale was rhythm, singing together, clapping together, moving to the same beat. When people synchronize their movement, the brain releases endorphins, chemicals linked to reward, closeness, and pain relief. The research shows that coordinated movement bonds strangers faster than almost any other activity. You don't need shared history, you don't need words, you just need the same rhythm. And larger, more bonded groups survived better. They defended better, hunted better, shared resources better. Fun was doing biological work. Now move to the fire. Anthropologist Polly Wiesner spent decades studying the Wich-Hawansi Bushmen of the Kalahari. In a study published in 2014, she compared what these hunter-gatherers talked about during the day versus what they talked about at night, gathered around the fire. The difference was stark. Daytime talk was almost entirely practical. Logistics, disputes, who owes what, where the food is. But firelight changed everything. At night, the conversation shifted to stories about distant hunts, people who weren't present, ancestors, spirits, relationships, how things used to be. Wiesner wrote that stories are told in virtually every hunter-gatherer society ever documented. She called them, together with gifts, the original social media. And this wasn't just entertainment. Firelight stories kept memories alive across generations before writing existed. They rehearsed dangerous situations in safe form. They named the rules of the group without calling them rules. They told people who they were and who they weren't. They held the group together when morning came and the real difficulty started again. Research on storytellers and Ata communities in the Philippines found that skilled storytellers tended to be more socially valued, with more cooperation around them, stronger networks, and what may have been real advantages in how their communities supported them. Being a good storyteller in a world with no books, no screens, no other way to move information across time was not just a performance, it was a social asset. Now, briefly, to the walls. At Blumbo's Cave in South Africa, archaeologists have found pieces of ochre, a reddish mineral pigment with geometric patterns deliberately carved into them. Some of these go back 75,000 years, possibly 100,000, shell beads pierced for wearing. Bone tools likely used for body painting. We don't know exactly what these symbols meant, but we know they were made with care, passed down across generations, and refined over very long periods of time, the desire to mark yourself, to decorate your body, to say, I am someone in particular. That impulse appears to be nearly as old as we are, so here's the twist. Modern entertainment separates fun from function. You watch something, you scroll, you consume, often alone, often passively, and often it doesn't ask anything of your body or your attention. Ancient fun didn't work that way. Play built real skills and tested real trust. Music bonded real groups through shared rhythm. Storytelling preserved memory and transmitted the rules that held communities together. Art declared identity and continuity across time. None of this was separate from survival. It was how survival worked at the group level. We have more entertainment now than any humans in history, but a lot of it asks nothing back. It doesn't require us to move together or remember together or make anything with our hands. Ancient humans didn't need screens to have fun, because their fun lived in the body, in the fire, in the group around them, in the voice of the person telling the story that everyone leaned in to hear. Maybe fun was never just something humans did after the important work was done. Maybe fun was part of the important work. Maybe it was one of the ways we survived it all.